Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, for 2 agonizing years, Gaza, home to over 2 million souls, has been a crucible of conflict, a hell on earth, where Hamas's brutality and terror met Israel's fierce response, leaving rubble where schools once stood and graves where playgrounds thrived. The death toll climbs into the tens of thousands. Hunger gnaws at the vulnerable, and hope flickers like a candle in the storm. But colleagues, here today, November 17th, we stand at a crossroads. Today, we have the power to douse the flames and light a path to peace. That path is the draft United Nations Security Council resolution before us. A bold, pragmatic blueprint born from President Trump's 20-point comprehensive plan. End the Gaza conflict, forged in the fires of diplomacy with Qatar, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Turkey, Pakistan, and Indonesia. Those countries stood with President Trump right back here in this very chamber, right in this room. They stood with him during the UN General Assembly High-Level Week just 8 weeks ago, and they have now publicly stood for this resolution. Over a dozen European heads of state, including the EU, the Secretary General, and Mahmoud Abbas stood with President Trump then at Sharm el-Sheikh after he presented his plan. So colleagues, I ask you before this vote, with this kind of support, I ask you if the region most affected, the Arab nations, the Muslim majority nations, the Palestinians and the Israelis can accept this resolution, how could anyone be against it? There's an old saying where I come from, you can't be more Catholic than the Pope. And I ask everyone today, are you more righteous in this cause than those who must live with it and will ultimately benefit from this plan for peace? This resolution, colleagues, is no mere paper promise. It's a lifeline. The resolution endorses a hard-won ceasefire. And I thank Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. I thank my dear friend Jared Kushner, who forged what so many people said was impossible. The living hostages released. There are more still absolutely to go, with families suffering. But we have a ceasefire that is holding. Their plan has already silenced the guns and freed 45 hostages in this fragile, fragile first step. And let me be clear, the United States remains committed to ensuring that the remains of the last 3 hostages held by Hamas must come home. The resolution authorizes the International Stabilization Force, a strong coalition of peacekeepers, many from Muslim-majority nations like Indonesia, Azerbaijan, and others, to deploy under a unified command. These brave souls will secure Gaza's streets, they will oversee demilitarization, they will protect civilians, and they will escort aid through safe corridors, all while Israel phases out its presence and a vetted Palestinian police force takes on a new role. At the heart of this plan, colleagues, lies the Board of Peace, a transitional administration with an international coordinating reconstruction financing from a dedicated trust fund backed by the World Bank itself to rebuild shattered lives, homes, hospitals, schools. That's what we will see with this plan and this resolution, not talking points, but actual deliverables. And crucially, per the carefully negotiated language in the 20-point plan, this resolution charts a possible pathway for Palestinian self-determination after the Palestinian Authority has completed the necessary reforms, where rockets will give way to olive branches and there is a chance to agree on a political horizon. It dismantles Hamas's grip. It ensures Gaza rises free from terror's shadow, prosperous and secure. Now, colleagues, we hear critics whispering of challenges. Russia has had a counterdraft. We hear concerns over mandates, but colleagues, hesitation here is the true enemy. We've seen ceasefires crumble before. We cannot repeat the definition of insanity here by doing the same thing that was done before, and by returning to the same frameworks and same talking points that will doom us to repeat this horror all over again. Delaying will cost lives, and every day without this force, aid trucks lie idle, children starve, and the extremists regroup to try to maintain control. So, colleagues, voting yes today isn't just endorsing a plan, it's affirming our shared humanity. It's telling Gaza's and Israel's mothers that the world has not forgotten them. Adopting this resolution today will prove the United Nations can still be a beacon and not just a bystander. Colleagues, the eyes of history and humanity are upon us right here, right now. A vote against this resolution is a vote to return to war. Time is not on the side of peace. This is not the time for endless debate and lawyering. The clock is ticking like a time bomb. So let us vote for this resolution, not as a compromise, but as a covenant for the children of Gaza and for peace that endures and for a Middle East reborn. Mr. President, I thank you.
I thank the representative of the United States for the statement. I shall put the draft resolution to the vote now. With those in favor of the draft resolution contained in document S/2025/748, please raise their hand. Those against? Abstentions? The result of the voting is as follows: 13 votes in favor, 0 votes against, 2 abstentions. The draft resolution has been adopted as Resolution 2803, 2025, or the draft resolution. Thank you. I now give the floor to those members of the Council who wish to make statements after the vote. I give the floor to the representative of the United States.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to the Council members for this historic and constructive resolution. Thank you for joining us in charting a new course in the Middle East for Israelis and Palestinians and all the people of the region alike. I would like to additionally thank our partners from the President's meeting during High-Level Week: Egypt, Qatar, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Turkey, Indonesia, and Pakistan. We have all bound together, recognizing the urgency of the situation and for swift adoption to deny Hamas any opportunity to reconstitute, and to ensure that the people of Gaza can be fed. Today's resolution represents another significant step towards a stable Gaza that will be able to prosper and an environment that will allow Israel to live in security. The Board of Peace, which will be led by President Trump, remains the cornerstone of our effort. The board will coordinate the delivery of humanitarian assistance, facilitate Gaza's development, and support a technocratic committee of Palestinians responsible for day-to-day operations of Gaza's civil service and administration, while the Palestinian Authority fully implements its reform program. The resolution today provides troop-contributing countries with the framework they need for moving forward with the International Stabilization Force and global financial institutions the mechanisms they need for channeling investment, respectively. The former will support a region free from Hamas's grip, and the latter, Gaza's reconstruction and development. The path to prosperity, colleagues, requires security first. Security is the oxygen that governance, that development needs to live and to thrive. The International Stabilization Force will stabilize the security environment, support the demilitarization of Gaza, dismantle terrorist infrastructure, decommission weapons, and maintain the safety of Palestinian civilians. We believe that the investment that will follow adoption today will revitalize Gaza's economy, providing Palestinians with an opportunity instead of saddling them with perpetual reliance on aid. We look forward to working alongside the World Bank to that end as it supports Gaza's long-term redevelopment, even as we address the immediate and dire humanitarian needs. President Trump's historic 20-point plan marked the beginning of what will be a strong, stable, and prosperous region, united in rejecting the path of violence, hatred, and terror. Colleagues, and I say this to the world, this resolution today is just the beginning. An adoption of resolution today demonstrates the overwhelming support for the President's vision for a stable Gaza where Palestinians determine their own destiny, free from terrorist rule and violence. And under President Trump's bold leadership, the United States will continue to deliver results alongside our many partners. We will seize the opportunity today to end decades of bloodshed and make lasting peace a reality, and we will work tirelessly with our partners, as we have over the last several months, to advance this vision for a more stable and prosperous Middle East. I thank you, Mr. President.